and they're talking about threatening him with insurance fraud. I would say you could get about 20 years in prison, so that's a death sentence.
To not look well when your name ends up with 200 people in a RICO investigation. This is the biggest investigation since Giuliani shook the tree and a bunch of mobsters fell out, right? This is big stuff. And so, and thank you for bringing that video. It sure is ironic that she's up there.
The View co-host Sunny Hostin's husband, Emanuel Hosten, has been accused of federal insurance fraud.
Sunny Hostin, her husband accused of committing federal insurance fraud in a...
Sunny Hostin, yes, the same woman who spent years on The View, acting like the moral compass of the world, calling out corruption left and right, now finds herself at the heart of a scandal that's about to make everything she's ever said look like a joke. And guess what? It involves her husband, Emanuel Hosten, an orthopedic surgeon with a laundry list of accusations so juicy they could fill an entire season of The Real Housewives of New York. But this isn't reality TV. It's a federal fraud case. Here's where it gets really interesting. Her husband isn't just accused of some small-time insurance scam. Oh no, this goes straight to the top. A full-blown RICO case. The kind of thing you only see when they're trying to bring down mafia bosses. It's so big, it could wipe out everything they've worked for. Can you believe it? This couple, who looked like they had it all, the career, the wealth, the perfect life, now at the center of a scheme that could total up to $450 million in fraud. Yep, that's right, million.
He knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other healthcare services, including arthroscopic surgeries.
For years, they were living the high life, but now it looks like all that glitters wasn't even real. And get this, the accusations are as absurd as they are extensive. Imagine pushing innocent taxi, Uber, and Lyft drivers into unnecessary surgeries, all for a quick buck. But wait, there's more! The list of victims includes even unsuspecting accident victims, coerced into invasive treatments they didn't need, just to rack up fraudulent claims. Oh, and did I mention that Sunny's husband allegedly accepted kickbacks for all of this? Now, if this isn't a shady web of deceit, I don't know what is. Now, here's the million-dollar question. How did Sunny not know about this? I mean, come on, she's been the queen of exposing corruption, the so-called truth teller on The View, calling out shady practices and unethical behavior for years. But now, when it's her own husband in the spotlight, it's like she's suddenly struck mute. How convenient, right? Maybe she didn't notice the sudden influx of cash.
The View co-host Sunny Hostin's husband, Emanuel Hosten, has been accused of federal insurance fraud. According to a new lawsuit obtained by Page 6, the orthopedic surgeon was one of two.
The lavish lifestyle they were living, or the fact that lawsuits were piling up around them like dirty laundry. But hey, let's just keep pretending she was blissfully unaware of the massive fraud scheme brewing under her nose. Sunny's reaction to all of this? Well, classic Sunny. Instead of addressing the scandal head-on like anyone with a shred of dignity would, she dismissed the whole thing as a frivolous attack. According to her, this entire lawsuit is just a desperate move by an insurance company to discredit her husband. Never mind the fact that her husband is one of nearly 200 defendants in one of the largest RICO cases New York has ever seen.
Just accused, and this accused in a lawsuit after some time of investigation could ultimately become a federal indictment.
But hey, why bother with the facts when you can spin it into a media witch hunt, right? And here's the kicker. She's defending him like he's some sort of innocent victim. Really? In a case like this? With nearly $500 million on the line? The public isn't buying it though. No one is buying this whole, they're just attacking us because we're famous narrative. It's starting to look like Sunny's either incredibly naive or, let's face it, she's simply hoping this all blows over without touching her career. But the drama doesn't stop there, folks. Let's talk about The View, shall we? You know, the show that Sunny's been on for years, spouting off about ethics, justice, and holding people accountable. But how can anyone take her seriously now? I mean, when her husband is neck deep in one of the biggest fraud cases in New York's history, her credibility is hanging by a thread. ABC executives are reportedly sweating bullets, wondering if they should pull the plug on her, because, let's be real, how can a woman who's allegedly married to a man involved in a $450 $250 million fraud scheme continue to sit there on national TV, preaching about truth and justice.
Manny Hosten and her husband, Dr. Emanuel Hosten, are preparing for a legal battle to fight accusations that he committed federal insurance.
The irony is almost too much. And it's not just the higher-ups at ABC who are getting nervous. Insiders are whispering about how her involvement in this scandal could drag the entire show down. The producers? They're closely monitoring the backlash. And some are even questioning whether having Sunny on the show is worth the risk. Imagine the fallout if the case against her husband gets worse, if the evidence piles up and they find out that Sunny wasn't just oblivious, but complicit. How can you confidently call out corruption when you're possibly knee-deep in it yourself? Now, her co-hosts on The View, you know, the ones who never hold back their opinions, they're surprisingly silent on this one. Not a peep. I wonder why. Could it be that even they are starting to distance themselves from Sunny, just in case the heat really turns up? Could you blame them? Let's talk about the real fallout now. Sunny and her husband are desperately trying to fight back. They've filed a countersuit, claiming defamation and emotional distress, because apparently attacking their financial empire and legal credibility is just too much to bear. A deflection, if I've ever seen one. I mean, come on. Are they really expecting us to believe this is all just a misunderstanding? The fact that they're using this countersuit as a shield to protect themselves from the real issue at hand is almost laughable. It's like watching a sinking ship try to patch itself up with duct tape.
And billed in exchange for kickbacks and other compensation, which were disguised as dividends or other cash distributions.
And the clock is ticking. If the RICO case continues to spiral out of control, the damage could be irreversible. Manny Hosten is facing a huge legal battle, and whether he comes out unscathed or not, his medical career is already ruined. He could be looking at prison time, and even if he somehow avoids that, patients and medical institutions are likely going to blacklist him for good. Trust has been shattered. And as for Sunny, her career on The View is hanging by a thread. And if ABC decides they can't afford the controversy anymore, she could find herself without a job and without the platform that made her famous. Who built her entire career on calling out others for their hypocrisy. What happens when the spotlight turns on her and she's caught in a web of lies? Does she finally break her silence and admit she might have been blind to it all? Or does she keep up this charade, clinging to her defense of her husband, even if it costs her everything? The pressure is mounting, and it's only going to get worse from here. The public is growing impatient, and the media frenzy is about to reach its boiling point. Everyone is asking the same thing. How much did Sunny really know? She built her entire persona on exposing corruption, demanding accountability, and scrutinizing people for exactly the kind of behavior her husband is now accused of. But now that it's her own family under fire, she's playing the innocent bystander card. Really, Sunny, is that what we're supposed to believe? That you had no idea about this $450 million fraud operation? The sudden wealth, the shady dealings, the shady surgeries. How could you possibly not notice?
Scamming insurance companies from taxi drivers, Uber drivers, and Lyft drivers. He was performing unnecessary surgeries and then providing fraudulent medical services.
Legal experts are now weighing in, questioning her credibility. Would she have reacted the same way if this were anyone else's husband? You know, someone she didn't have a personal interest in defending? Of course not. She'd be all over it, breaking down the case, dissecting every legal detail with her usual pomp and self-righteousness. But now that it's her own husband's name on the chopping block, her silence is deafening. And to make matters worse, it's starting to look like she's hoping we'll all forget about it, that it'll somehow just fade away. Newsflash. Sunny, this isn't going anywhere.
It's just, I mean, you're married. Tom, you're married. If your husband's doing something, if he's allegedly doing something like
As the legal battle rages on and more damning evidence comes to light, the question remains, will she continue to back her husband blindly, or will she be forced to confront the cold, hard truth? Either way, she's already in too deep. The scandal, the betrayal, the hypocrisy, it's all unraveling. And whether she likes it or not, the public isn't just watching the fall of Dr. Manny Hosten, they're watching her too. And the real question is, can she save herself? Or is this the beginning of the end for Sunny Hostin?